welcome to those who just joined in now. If this is your first session, thanks. Great for you to have joined in for the session. It's going to be a brilliant session. But you have missed out on some fantastic sessions this morning as well as yesterday. And congratulations to all our speakers who participated and make this event what it is. And over and above, just listening to our speakers, which I can understand, you don't want to miss anything, you're glued to the chair. But that'll take you 8 hours of the day, but we run 24/7. So the other, 16 hours, we want you to go and browse around in our trade fair. There's some very exciting offers there from our exhibitors, and check out our booths, very quality booths from various people. So I'm just very impressed with what has been done. So thanks to all the people at the background who has made that happen. And yes, we already stand at just over 100 people who have set themselves up as exhibitors. And please check out their sites, because many of them are offering you a lot of specials and even some free goodies. So don't waste the opportunity. But then back to our speakers, just some, what we call it, basic home rules. While the speaker is doing his bit, please engage with us in the chat room. Click on the chat, talk to us there, put your questions there, so that'll help to make this whole thing more interactive and alive. And also, if you're new to Zoom and you have found benefit from the session, all of the sessions are recorded, but you can also, on the chat box at the bottom, go and then just download the chat, and you will have all the information of all the people who have posted on the chat. Now, I'm then privileged to introduce our next speaker. I got to know this lady through her connections with Trevor and Ivan. And Trevor and myself met each other just over 3 years ago. And even before I met her, he was already starting to brag about the best CEO in South Africa and the head of the training, and he bragged the same way with Ivan. I felt quite intimidated by the time I had to meet these people. But then I found wonderful people. And in the early days of the chamber, Leigh was a great help every Saturday morning to take us through her material and help to start setting the culture that we are seeing playing out on this. With an attitude of collaboration, with an attitude of make a difference. And that's, her company is called the DifferenceMaker, or the course is called the DifferenceMaker. And she's just an expert individual with a heart for people, wanting to empower people. So without me saying too much any further, I hand you over to Leigh Harrison.
Well, thank you, Jasper, Trevor, Ivan. It's really good to be here. And welcome to everybody else who's joining this morning. I'm going to be taking the direction slightly differently to the sort of business talk that I came in on. And it seems I even haven't been involved in all the talks. But it's certainly, I think you've really got some meat for the bones in terms of, what does it mean to reinvent yourself, to get yourself going in these extraordinary times. Wisdoms is a world center for personal and business success. And our philosophy is we don't tell you what to think, but give you the resources to think. And we're practicing that, and we began Thursday before our lockdown here in South Africa, which started on Friday. I forget, the days now blur into one another. So I think we're in day 80 something. We began every morning, 8 o'clock, what we call Wisdom's Chats. And it really is an outflow of our philosophy, which says, let's get a group of people together who want to remain positive, passionate, and interested in making a difference in their lives and in the lives of others. And it's a free flow conversation that picks up everything from, you know, we are what we think, what are our strengths, attitude, initiative, inspiration, leadership, entrepreneurship, and business mastery. And so I'm going to pick up on that style this morning. And that is, I'm going to open a screen. And the idea is that we just prompt some ideas, because yes, we can talk about business principles. Yes, we can talk about what's going to take our business to the next level using whatever technology and amazing platforms that are available. But at the end of the day, we remain our greatest strength and our greatest weakness is the person that we are, and the person that we're becoming is what we contribute most into our businesses. So what is the difference that we're making in our lives, that we keeping pace from an emotional, from a developmental, from a mental capacity point of view? And so our first program, I call it a program, it's really just a series of principles that we have pulled together that we call the Difference Maker. And as I say, this is our entry-level program. And it's really to stimulate some thinking. So I'm going to share my screen, and we begin. So there we go. And we call it the Difference Maker because I think what's interesting is when I ask people, what's the most important thing for you in your life? They will often say, I want to make a difference. And that may see, there's a yearning in people. There's a desire that our lives matter, that whether it's business, whether it's in our families, whether it's in our communities, whether it's in this global village that we live in, that we actually want our lives to there's a stamp that we want to leave. And what is that stamp? And so the first question I'm going to ask you to kind of mull over is, what is the difference you want to make? What is your unique difference that you can pinpoint that says, this is my contribution? This is the—
Sorry, Leigh,
yeah?
you haven't shared fully. You need to hit the share button again.
It tells me that I'm share screening. You are screen.
We're just seeing that you've started the process, but it doesn't.
You've started the process, you haven't finished it. Just share your screen. In other words, you have to hit share twice. You hit share and then share again once you've picked the screen.
Now it's happening.
Because on my side, okay, from the beginning.
Here we are.
There we go. Okay.
Just, if you keep pressing buttons, you'll eventually get there. Thanks, Gavin. Can you see what's in front of you?
A city at night.
There you go. And now I'm asking if you, the difference maker, what are you in terms of being a difference maker? So for us, if you think about yourself as an employer or an employee or self-employed, if you have a positive, resilient attitude, if you're taking initiative, you're inspiring yourself to keep going and to keep driving towards your dreams and ambitions, and you're inspiring others to do the same, and you've got the leadership skills to draw people along with you to be able to accomplish this great goal or dream that you have. You've got the business skills that ensure that the right things are in place to enable that to happen, even to the level of business mastery. Would you hire yourself? Would you keep yourself employed? And who are you looking to employ? So these are the building blocks of the Wisdoms program. And they really help us to understand that it's a step-by-step process that starts with our own making a difference in our own lives. So it begins with helping, lending a helping hand, reaching out, giving. And I think about what's happening here at the virtual trade fair, that is in actual fact being illustrated, is that let's put this out there, let's offer it as an opportunity that people can come, explore, share, understand, bring their thoughts and ideas, and so we learn and we grow as we extend something from ourselves. But it doesn't mean that everybody likes what we do. It doesn't mean that we don't have to kiss a few frogs along the way. Even when we give, it isn't always easy. And people aren't always grateful. But that doesn't mean that isn't what we need to be doing and sharing. So the difference maker are these principles. And it's like all wisdom, you know, wisdom isn't something that you say, oh, you know, that is absolutely, I've never heard that before. Wisdom is something that's been mulled over, experienced, it's been inculcated in people's lives, and it's been proven through experience and the hard knocks of life. And so it becomes this pearl. We talk about pearls of wisdom because they have really been shaped and formed over a period of time. And so often it's something that you'll know. Of course I know that, but it's about the click, that click moment that says, ah, I understand that makes sense to me. And then we're able to implement it. Then we're able to say, this is what's actually going to be that little tweak. I always think about it in terms of mastery. I was listening to a swimming coach who was saying, you know, with these Olympic swimmers, what is the difference between first place and second place? Is these milliseconds between, you know, two touches. And how do you get your swimmer to be that millisecond ahead of the next person? And it's, as you're coaching that person, it's just that slight adjustment of angle in the water, or just that ability to breathe at this particular moment in time. And that's really what you're looking for. You're looking for, I know so much and I've learned so much, but what can I tweak? What can I adjust that is going to take me just that little bit further, that's going to help me lift me that little bit more towards what I'm wanting to gain. So we look at what it means to be a role model. It's about what you do rather than what you say. It's acknowledging that you will be criticized. So how are you going to deal with that? It's about standing up and being counted, but still remaining true to yourself, recognizing that others have that same right to be true to themselves, that there's no secret to success. It's right, it's all around us. There's abundance, there's freedom to choose how you want to find your success. But that doesn't mean it's complicated. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. It's about finding your passion, living your passion. That's where your energy, that's where the drive comes from. But it's not la la land. I hear this kumbaya. It's not kumbaya. Life is tough. So how do you accept pain? How do you take on risk wisely, and therefore make good things happen in your life? So I'm going to stop talking now. That was just by way of introduction, because I'd love to hear something around what you're thinking and saying. But I want to just launch into just the first principle, and that is that you are already a role model. I think some of us may think, oh, I aspire to be a role model, or I'd like to be a role model. I'd like to think I'm a role model. or maybe you don't want to be a role model at all because that puts pressure on you. That oh, now I have to show up in a certain way, so I want to avoid that. But the reality is, you are a role model, whether you know it or whether you like it or not. There's always someone somewhere that is recognizing that there's something in you that they like, that they appreciate. Imagine that. And that they want to then emulate that. They see something in you that is attractive to them. And the thing is, you don't actually know who that person is. And in reality, it could actually be a complete stranger, somebody that you don't even know, something that you say, something that you do, something that they just see you walking in the street and you're doing. I notice, if somebody throws something out of the window of a vehicle, they're actually modeling a certain kind of behavior. And somebody says, oh, okay, if that person can throw something out the window, then so can I. So it's modeling both for good and for bad. And so the good thing about that is that we can make a difference just where we are. Just one person at a time. Each person that we interact with, we can do it as we are, where we are, what we do has an impact. It already has an impact. And so I just want to open it therefore to find out from you, what struck you so far, and what do you think, especially around being a role model? Anybody want to add comments?
Leigh, may I talk?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Lovely, Leigh. Just especially now with this pandemic, people are destroyed. So there's so much negativity around, and I found being part of the chamber has just given us, by joining hands, has helped us see vision, grow together, keep us positive, and it's like-minded people that keep you positive. I'm never a negative person. I'll always find a positive thing in every negative situation, even if it takes me years to find the positive in whatever situation I've been in. And being with the chamber is so inspirational because it's keeping you on track, where everyone else you talk to is so depressed and don't have no track or don't know where to turn and what to do. It's so encouraging to be part of this positive energy, and that's what it's about for me.
Thanks, Donna. Trevor's very positive. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to come on board and say it's all about role models. Just be careful the role models that you follow. Huh?
All right, guys.
Morning, folks. Good to have this lady with us. What's also very good is, I think that if you come across a negative person, and if you can quickly try and get a feel for why they're thinking like that, and try and ask some key questions, maybe that's an opportunity for us, you, me. I try and demonstrate it from time to time to actually turn that person from being negative into a positive person. And I know there are a few ladies on the platform, and I am talking tomorrow, but I'll use this word, so please block your ears. When I come across people saying SSDD, and I won't explain what that is, you can either run away or you can sit down and chat with them and find out why they're going through SSDD. And I find that's quite fulfilling personally. But thank you.
Right. Anyone else with a comment or a question? You could just open your mic and start talking. While we wait, I think I have a comment there for you, Leigh, and that's in terms of how do you define a role model? because I think a person is only ready to find the teacher when he's ready for that teacher, but the teachers are all around us all the time. And until a person knows what he's looking for, it doesn't matter what you're trying to role model, people are just not observant.
If I can, I tell you what, I hate to be the bearer of great news. When you come across these negative people that, oh, it's nothing, this, it's that, and everything, you know what they are to me? They're people that are getting out of my way, is what I would say, because you can find a way through every single time. An obstacle is nothing but a new route to success every single time. They're all cliches, they're all words you've heard before, but you know what? We've talked about it yesterday. Every pandemic, depressions, all these things always lead to new growth. It's like pruning back in gardening. To get new growth, you have to prune back the old to get new growth. And that's what's happening now, guys. The opportunity is there. So all these doom and glooms, just get them out of your way. They'll take care of themselves. Let them go be doom and gloomy as all they want, not a problem. And let's just go on for success. Leigh, you're very encouraging. I love it. Carry it on, my dear.
All right, guys, just open your mic and then come in if you want to add to the specific topic that Leigh put on the table about following a role model.
Yes, but let me come in there, because I think it's absolutely key, you know, that we dig into this a little bit. It's not about necessarily you being a role model intentionally, or people you know, following you. It's the fact that people do follow role models regardless. They are role models of all sorts, whether they're positive or negative, around the world. I mean, if you just think about these so-called celebrities and people that are followed by people on social media platforms, those are all role models, and not all of them are good. So the question is yeah, thanks, Trevor. Yeah, so the question is really about becoming conscious about who you actually are taking your inputs from, and where those inputs are coming from, and how they're actually you know, influencing your life. And Trevor's influencing me horribly here. So, you know, Trevor, switch off your video if you're going to do that.
because it's not about you deliberately being a role model.
Exactly.
It's about what people see you doing when you're not watching.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be one of Leigh's answers to Jasper's questions, I'm sure.
But that's it. You know, you are being watched, and you are being followed, and you are being used as a role model by someone, you know, all the time, and whether you think it or not, that's actually happening. And also at the same token is when, you know, you actually doing the same thing with other people. So you looking at people and role modeling them and you know, following them, and sometimes it's completely subliminal. You don't realize that you're actually doing it. So it's become, like I said, it's becoming consciously aware of who you're following, why you're following, and who's following you, and why they're following you, and what is that. What is that impression that you're actually leaving or you're gaining from those around you?
Yeah, I think what we underestimate is the reality that as human beings, we follow. And that's why we talk about leadership so much, and why we look to leaders, whether we acknowledge it or not. There was a study done at Harvard that really followed the Samaritan story, where somebody was pretending to be injured on the side of the pavement, on the side of the sidewalk, and people just walked by. In Boston, they're just, you know, busy life, carrying on, and we keep going. Then until at a predetermined time, one of the students stepped in and went to help this person, and immediately there was a flock of people that came now to also assist and to help. You need somebody to step forward, and then everybody else follows. It's just, and so we mustn't underestimate how important it is for us to take initiative, and to, as Brock was saying, to surround ourselves with positive people, because they are the ones that are actually going to keep us going. But it's the simplest things we do that other people observe that we don't even realize, that aren't consciously or unconsciously. There's, and they see it as permission to either do the right thing or to do the wrong thing. And therefore, we really need to pay attention to what it is that we are modeling. And when I've shared this before, people say, well, it means that I now have to be, ultra conscious of myself, and it's going to take away my freedom. And well, no, the more true you are to yourself, the more you're modeling something that is of value to the world, because it's your uniqueness that actually is the gift. So I'm going to move on, because we actually touch on that. Because if we are going to make a difference, if we are going to model something that's significant, it's got to be more than words. It has to be what we do. It's our actions that speak louder than our words. And I even look at this platform, and I'm asking myself, what are you going to do differently after these 4 days? You're imbibing, you're learning, you're growing, you're listening, you're sharing, and it is this incredible, and we do it even at Wisdom's Chats, is you want to create a platform where people have the opportunity to think, to process, and that's where ideas are stimulated. It's where plans are drawn up. But what makes it real? What ensures that anything changes is when you actually do something about it. And again, it's simple. It's simple. This is not rocket science. And yet, when I ask people, so how long have you been promising yourself to lose those 5 kilograms, or to clean out that cupboard, or to phone your mother-in-law? I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. You know what? Either cancel it off the list. Stop fooling yourself in thinking you're going to do it. Either cancel it off the list, be honest with yourself about it, or do it. Those are really your only 2 choices. This ongoing list of musts and shoulds that we burden ourselves with. Rather keep going, and live through the truth of your actions. Because unfortunately, the people that we say, when we look and we ask them, they say something, but they do something else, they're hypocrites, right? And those are the people that we mostly say we hate the most. So it's action that changes things. Yes, it may stem from our words, it may come from our thoughts, but it actually boils down to what we're doing about it. So that's my challenge to you now, and maybe I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm not maybe, but I am going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to ask, some of you have spent maybe a day and a half on this platform in various ways, or maybe you've just stepped on and you've heard something new, or you've thought about something. What is one thing that you are going to do differently based on what you've gained from being part of this virtual trade fair to this point?
All right. If you don't have a hand up, I'm going to start picking on you. So let me just put the hands up there. I don't see a hand, so that gives me permission to pick. And David, rock.
There we go. Unmute myself. Yeah, Jasper. I mean, some very inspiring things already I've heard. I'm definitely already talking to Scott about empowering my LinkedIn a little bit better. To be honest with you, love that guy. And actually, I mean, it's no secret. I'm here primarily to make sure that we link UK and South African businesses more together. So I'm more inspired. Talking to Trevor and Ivan before, I was already up for it, but now meeting some of the great talents that are there. My goodness, we're going to make so many wonderful things happen. I'll tell you what, Jasper, I'll shut up because I'd go on for another hour and then speaker'd have no time. So, but yeah, it's powerful stuff, people. We have everything at our fingertips. So, but what she's saying is so true. Don't just watch it and hear it, do it.
Thanks, David. Donovan, do you want to come in? Hey, looks like Donovan. Donovan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. You picked
Yes.
up, and what are you going to do about what you've learned?
Okay, I'm just looking at the last statement by Leigh. Actions changes things. I just want to backtrack a bit and add thoughts, because what you think turns into action. So I'd like to change it to tact. Thoughts, action changes things. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Donovan. You have also answered my question from what you've learned. How do you apply it for yourself? Okay. Let's just move on. Chris, you've come in and out yesterday. Anything you picked up and that you thought, all right, that's new, so I'm going to apply it for myself now? Okay. Can I say all the people who are currently on, because I don't know if you're on or not, your screens are black. If you can just show your face, then I know you're on. Gavin, what's your input?
I think one of the things I always struggle with is the fact that you've got to choose between setting an example and being self-conscious. One of the big problems is that if you think everyone's watching you all the time, you're never yourself. So your integrity needs to shine through no matter who's watching, but don't behave as if people are watching. To me, that's the balance that needs to be achieved.
All right, we have a problem there with the one naughty boy in the room. The speaker last night ended off by saying we have to promote the inner child, and looks like that's the only thing he picked up, to promote that inner child. But let's go over to Stella.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for the talks, Leigh. I just want to go back a bit on what you've touched on about surrounding yourself with positive people. So I just also want to confess, not confess is not the right word, but tell you guys about lockdown for me, where I tried to surround me with positive people, specifically during the wisdom's chats every morning. So I think if it weren't for the wisdom's chat, I don't know if I would have survived this lockdown. So, and the tone was just set every day for your day to start. So thank you so much for that. And during those chats, as what Leigh also said, touched on, is to stimulate ideas. And I must commend Leigh on the way that she got us to think every day, and to really dig deep into what the topic is about. So that I myself has grown so much just by digging deep into myself during the last couple of weeks. And to answer your question, yesterday was such an amazing day with all the talks that I attended. I'm going to unlearn certain behaviors, as what our last speaker talked about yesterday, and to bring the inner child back into myself. And then, yes, thank you for this last bit, to act on it and to really build on my, not to try and sell my business. This is what I also learned yesterday, not to sell my business, but to rather sell myself and to make personal connections with other people. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Stella. And let's just pick on some people that I saw their name come up once or twice yesterday. Darren, would you like to comment on what you picked up yesterday, and what are you doing about what you picked up? Okay, we wait for Darren. While wait for Darren, Trevor Kettler, do you have a comment on based on what you've experienced yesterday? It looks like we, okay, Trevor, yes?
Yeah, morning everybody. Yeah, I just found it very interesting. There were a lot of things that we can all learn, we can all take away with us, and I found it very valuable. And there was something from each particular talk that we could use and build ourselves in our business. So we should always be ready to learn. Never stop learning.
Thanks, Trevor. Irene, you've been basically part of our sessions all day yesterday. The question of Leigh is, have you find something that jumped out at you and that you then said, I'm going to apply this?
Yes, but I think very much the same as what Stella said as well, you know, the unlearning, because we all get into such habits of certain things and the way that we think. Yesterday's talks and all of that, it was so inspiring, and, you know, I think just the unlearning of certain things that we just constantly do and changing the way we think, I think that's a starting point, definitely.
Thanks, Irene. Back to you, Leigh.
I'm going to pick up. Yeah, thanks, Jasper. So, yeah, so hopefully what I'm doing is just helping you to grasp what has been important and then to apply it. And so one of the things that often stops us in our tracks when we want to step forward and do new things or different things is what other people think of us. What will they say? And we have this, I don't know who they are, but they are the ones who often are the stumbling blocks to us moving forward. And it feels, you know, we want to feel like we're belonging. We want to feel like we're accepted. And so when we're criticized, and we can call it feedback, but actually at the end of the day, whether you call it feedback or whether you call it criticism, it still hurts. And so we need to find a way of listening to what is important and integrating that. You know, what is there something that I can learn from, grow from, because somebody said something negative about what I've done or what I've said. Or do we just brush it off? Is it, and there are times when people are having a bad day and they dump their stuff on us, and we have to be able to use our discernment to be able to say, yes, I'm willing to take this on board and learn from it. And no, this is not up to me to deal with. This is up to you to deal with. This is your projection or whatever your issues are. And I'll leave it firmly in your court. But accepting that you'll be criticized, that you're never going to do everything perfectly, you're never going to please everybody all the time, is freedom. And so, yeah, enjoy your stay. You will be criticized. How do you deal with it? Is not to have to build a bit of a thicker skin. When I started my business in the early days, 16 so years ago, and I have a pile of files of potential clients that all said no. Some of them politely, some of them not so politely. And what I've realized in sales, and if you're in business, you're in sales. It doesn't matter, and you need to think of yourself as a salesperson, that you need a thick skin. Rejection is real, but you don't see it as rejection. You see it as something you're working through, and that you're learning from, and it's a new opportunity to understand and to grow in your business. But it's not about you. You build up that thicker skin, but you don't remain but you need a soft heart. So soft heart is about, I still listen, I still pay attention, I am listening to the needs of my clients, and I am adjusting who I am and what I'm doing in order to meet those needs. So how do you deal with criticism? You do you. You do you. You go for it with all of your heart. Whatever your goal is, whatever is in your mind and your heart to do, your dreams, your whatever it is, however you've been knocked down and need to be picked up again, you go for it because it's your passion that will win over. It's your energy, your enthusiasm, your the delight that you have in your life and in what you want to achieve that is going to win the day, even though others are going to tell you it's not possible, or you shouldn't do that, or you must do it better. So again, I'm just going to hand back to the group and just, how do you deal with criticism? And how do you ensure that, we've spoken about, David spoke about the fact that, get rid of the negative people, but sometimes the negative people are in your families. Very difficult to get rid of them. So how do you deal with them? How do you make sure that you remain resilient in the face of criticism?
All right, I see, I don't know if it's from the past, the previous slide, Stella, you had your hand up. Would you like to take on this? And for the rest of the people, please put your hands up, go on participants, and on your button, just click your hand up, then I can get to you after Stella.
Sorry, that was from the previous one, Jasper. So I'm good. But just on criticism, yeah, that's a difficult one, especially as you say, when it is family. They say you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. Eh? But I think it's also a matter of to understand where that person is coming from, what motivated them to say or do what they did. I think if you understand the person better, you can deal with the criticism better in not taking it personally. Yeah, so I think that's a very good topic. I think we must engage a bit more on that during our wisdoms chat. So I'll just stay with that for now. Thanks.
Thanks, Stella. Next on is Chris.
Hey, Leigh. Thank you for your presentation. Nice to see you again. Yeah, I want to say that criticism, you need to really, what can you learn from criticism? Because criticism is not necessarily all bad. So, if you look at, for instance, the Johari's window, and there's no time for me to explain that, there's a part where you don't understand yourself, and when somebody comes and criticizes you, you got to say, well, is there some truth in that? Is there something that perhaps they're seeing about me that I'm not seeing? And you need to learn. This is what I do in my life. Let me rather say that to eat the meat and spit out the bones. So in other words, what is applicable to you, take, and what is not applicable to you, or you don't see it as being applicable to you, or where it is just a straight out and out attack, then just dismiss it and do it in a kind way. Don't say to the person, you are such a pal, because then you fall into their game. So it's how you deal with it really that will make a difference. And then the last thing I want to say is that we all have this thing called confidence within. Now, I wanted to use another word, but I just forgot what the word I was going to use. But really, how do you let this affect you? Because criticism can actually put you into a nosedive, and you can actually end up where you don't get out of it, and so you go down on a slippery slide. And what you need to say is, okay, that's their opinion. They're entitled to their opinion, and kind of like water off a duck's back. So repel it if it's a lot of mumbo jumbo garbage. That's my comment.
All right, thanks, Chris. Leigh, I don't see any other hand. I don't know if you've got another slide to go to. Or
Absolutely. So, I know we're going to, I don't want to go right through to the top of the hour, but maybe let's, I want to end off with, so I'm going to just go quickly through these slides. This is about making a difference by standing up for what you believe in. So it's not moving forward hard. But this is where I want to end off with, because I think if you are going to be implementing anything from what you're learning through the virtual trade fair, through the various talks, and I think about yesterday and Scott Kundle's talk about branding, personal branding, that at the end of the day, the differentiator is you. You make the difference in your own life. And the more true you are to yourself, the more the difference you can make in the world around you. And I've already said this, but I just want to emphasize this as we draw to a close here, is your story is absolutely and utterly unique. Your story of how you grew up, the things that have happened to you, what you've learnt. It's another thing that we find over and over again in Wisdom's Chats, as we give an opportunity for people to share their stories. And some people have shared briefly, some people have gone into real depth and touched us tremendously by being vulnerable and connecting human to human. When I sit in corporates and I do this exercise and I just go around the room and ask people to and they just have the platform, 10 minutes. 10 minutes is quite a long time, just to share, who am I? Who am I? Where have I come from? What's brought me to this place? And I will get, when people share their stories and the ups and downs and the difficulties and the joys and the challenges and what they've overcome, people have an absolutely renewed appreciation for this incredible person that they might have worked with for 10, 15 years. And they'll say to me afterwards, but I never knew. And that's the thing, is even now here is a platform of 18, 19, 20 people, and we don't know your stories. We don't know what's hidden behind the person that we see on the screen. And that person, that story needs to be told. It's powerful. And what we learn through our own stories is something that we can pass on to others in incredible and significant ways, and making a difference. So I invite you to think about your story. Some of these, the opportunities we've had on Wisdom's Chats for people to tell their story, it's the first time that they've strung the whole thing together and then shared it out loud with other people. And it's actually impacted their own lives to realize, wow, this is everything I've gone through, and look who I've become as a result. And so I really encourage you to think about your story and what it means for you to be the person that you are now and the person that you're becoming, with all the learning and unlearning that you need to do. So that's by way of ending off what I wanted to share today. Just popping in some thoughts. These are simple wisdoms. The idea is not to complicate your life. It's to help you to just reflect and then act and make a difference. That's really all this has been about. And so I just leave it for you to make any final comments, and then we'll close up.
Thanks, Leigh. Please put up your hand if you have a comment or a thought to add to what you've heard. I will get to you just now. But the one thing I appreciate about Leigh is almost her motherly care. And I can just picture her in a room full of executives who are playing heavy, high power politics. And here comes this mother, and she looks you in the eyes and she said, just tell me about yourself. And, you know, how can you now lie to your mother? How can you now not be honest? So I can see how she can actually work the room. Ivan also just posted for us, you know, this whole thing of your life can only be lived by one person at a time. And but we had a friend that was very active in the chamber. He would have loved what we are experiencing right now with the virtual trade fair. And then tragically, he got killed during a botched robbery at his house. And his wife then just post on Facebook now, and Ivan posted it for us, that over the past few months, I have learned that we need to be gentle with ourselves. Lockdown, no business, and whatever else we are all going through has taken its toll on everyone. Be gentle and do what you can on a daily basis. So we just appreciate that comment from Jenny Brown. So anyone with a closing comment, let's just see if there's a hand up there that I might have missed. Trevor, would you like to, now you've got a very soft spot and very biased about Leigh, but
No.
Excellent as usual. Would you like to just come in and say something about?
No soft spot. I've got a soft spot for Dawn. I saw her put her finger up.
Yes, Dawn put up her hand.
Needing to ask a question. So there you go. Dawn, jump on board.
Yeah, Leigh, stunning as usual, Leigh. You just make us really think and dig deep. So, you know, my journey through this virtual trade fair now, listening to the different speakers, and with you mentioning your life story, and Trevor Kechter saying you need to write a book. So I think I'm going to start writing a book about my life's journey, because I've been through a lot through my life, and it's made me who I am. And I wouldn't change a thing. I would not change a thing, because I'm happy to be who I am right now, and my journey's made me who I am. So that's what I'm going to do. Trevor, I hope Trevor kept this thing. I'm going to, because I thought, what am I going to write about? But that you've just now triggered that spark. Thank you, Leigh.
Thanks, Dawn. Anyone else who wants to write a book and tell us about the introducing chapter? All right, Trevor, would you like to have a closing word?
Yeah, well, look, all I can say, you know, I said I believe this to be the finest CEO in the country. I've watched Leigh operate. She is at the top of her game in the corporate environment. And this type of program that Leigh has just shared for about 40 odd minutes or so can take anything up to 40 odd weeks or so for people to actually go through. It is so profound. And I just want to say, I mean, deepest thanks to Leigh